Hi there, my name's Nessie. You're listening to a podcast of The Culture Cafe, originally broadcast on RTE 2XM on November 21st, 2012. Now, if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know that we've been playing Willy Moon over the past year or so. His tracks Yeah Yeah and Wanna Be Your Man have been regulars here on the Culture Cafe, and I was delighted to be able to catch up and have a great chat with Willy when he opened up for Jack White in the O2 there recently. So listen, thanks a million for taking the time out. I believe Fred from Spectre has some competition in his most dapper man of the year.
Yeah, listen, I beat Fred any day.
Is that a challenge?
Absolutely. Fred's got nothing on me.
A wardrobe off.
Yeah.
That'll be a first.
Fred with his Hawaiian shirts, come on, Fred. Get it together, man. Come on, any day of the week.
You have packed a hell of a lot into, 21, 22 years?
Yeah, I think so, 23 now. Yeah.
You moved to the UK when you were 18.
I did, yeah.
Was it the music that got you there, or was it the music, but you brought your guitar with you?
Yeah, I did. So obviously, that's why I keep, I don't know, people ask me that question, and I think I must have had some sense of that was what I wanted to do. Otherwise I wouldn't have done it, But my guitar was my most treasured possession. Throughout my life, it was the one thing that I had, which was like, if the house was going to burn down, it was the one thing I'd want to run inside, and that and my teddy bear. And I brought both with me, so those are the things which are kind of. No, I didn't bring my teddy bear. I went back to New Zealand and brought my teddy bear with me. I wasn't that much of a child, but yeah, I obviously had some sense of love for it and some sense of that it was a part of who I was. I guess is the most important thing. I don't know if I was planning on, being doing what I'm doing now, but I knew it was a part of who I was, a big part of who I was, and a big part of my identity.
So were you writing at that stage, or
not really? No, I mean, I always sort of messed about in bands with other kids, but not seriously. No, I didn't start seriously writing songs until I was living in Berlin, because I had, I was in Berlin and rent was so cheap that I actually, for the first time, I had time on my hands. I was sitting there thinking, God, I've got to do something that, I really want to do something in my life that fulfills me and excites me, I thought, my guitar was there, and I just picked it up and thought, what, I'd never sung before, I'd always thought if I was ever, whenever I played in bands, I always thought I'd be a guitarist. I never thought I'd be a singer. Never sort of really entertained the idea, because I'd never. Was
it a confidence thing, or it was just there was always somebody else that did that?
Yeah, it just never really crossed my mind that I would be that guy. I always thought I was much more of a kind of, I don't know, a quiet sort of, instrumentalist. But I started singing, and it's sort of, for a long time, I wouldn't even let my girlfriend hear me sing. It's very very secretive. Wait until everyone was out, and then I kind of, I'd kind of close the windows so like the neighbours couldn't hear it. I kind of sit there, and, slowly I sort of grew that sense of, and when I played my first gig, like proper gig, at the beginning of this year, it was kind of one of the first times I'd actually in my life, got, apart from in rehearsals for the gigs with my band, one of the first times in my life I'd actually gotten up in front of people and sung in front of people, which is, now that I think about it, it's quite bizarre, but I never was really afraid of it, and at that point, because I had a real belief that, because I'd recorded stuff and I knew that I thought it sounded great, so I had a real belief that what I was doing was good, and so therefore why should I be nervous or ashamed of it?
And when you took the step, to let other people hear it then, and even performing with the band, you did all the demos and stuff yourself, didn't you? So how did you find that transformation?
What, into coming and playing live, to go and play live
and
shows?
Playing with other people, because I read somewhere in your press release, and I shall quote, that you're a dictator at heart.
Yeah, I am.
So does that mean you're a control freak? And
yeah, I am. Yeah, I am a control freak, because I just, No, you know what? I pretend that I'm not, and I think I'm quite convincing at it sometimes. Because I like people. I think it's important for people. You know, if you just tell people what to do, it's not good for their, you know, happiness and their mentality. So I like to feel like I gently sway people in my direction. You know, but luckily, I mean, I've got, you know, because I'd made the records before I went to the band, and kind of, it's like, you know, every time I've brought a new song to them, it's never been, you know, sit down with a guitar and here's the song, we got to work out how to play it. I've always recorded, you know, that the record of it and played that to them, but like, right, we've got to work out how we, you know, we've got to recreate this. So it's never really been a problem of like, oh no, you're interpreting it wrong, because there's no room for misinterpretation because it's there. It's like, you know, we change things live, but we wouldn't have to. You know, there is a very clear blueprint of what we want to do.
When you didn't, or when you started doing all your recording and playing, then that's only what, 4 years ago or 5 years ago. What were the influences? Because it's kind of a 50s kind of throwback
I
sheet,
mean, especially at that time, it was all Buddy Holly and Bo Diddley and all that stuff. That, I mean, when I first started out, that was it. You know, that was what I was interested in. You know, Beatles and Rolling Stones and all that stuff. It was kind of, you know, that was where I was at. And then as time went on, and as I came upon the hurdles of actually wanting to make music that was, you know, of the same quality, of the same excitement, but wasn't just merely a pastiche of music from the past, you know, and within the limitations of the fact that I was sitting there on a computer and all I had was a guitar and a microphone, and, you know, I couldn't create that same kind of sonic atmosphere, you know, because that stuff is very much about people sitting down with a band and playing songs. I didn't have that, you know, I didn't want to do that. So that's how, you know, that's how hip hop crept into my music, that's how kind of, you know, electronic music crept into my music, that's how all this other stuff kind of started to, because it just became, you know, as I was working on what I was doing, it became more and more obvious that, you know, what I needed, and I wanted to create something. I always felt it was sad, it would be sad to make music that wasn't exciting and didn't have a sense of, God, you know, I mean, I really don't know what that's really sounds like, you know, and that's always what I wanted to do.
And it transcends genres and eras.
That's always the music that I like. You listen to something like, wow, you know, where does that even exist? You know, that sounds like that artist.
It sounds like you.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's unique.
It's not like oh, it's, you know, indie rock. Do you know what I mean? Fuck that.
So how did you meet Jack then?
How did I meet Jack?
Yeah.
Well, I met Jack because I met Jack after Third Man and stuff got in touch with me. Because I don't know, Ben Swank from Third Man Records played, he played a couple of my songs to Jack and said, you should check out this guy, you know, I think he's really great. And then Jack said to me that he for the first sort of 30 seconds of listening to it, he was like, what the fuck is this? And then after that, he said he realised that he really liked it, and so then they got in touch with me and they're like, we'd love to put out a record, do you have a single or something that, you know, that you'd like to put out through Third Man? So I had to go to my record label and say, will you let me put out a record with this independent label in America that has nothing to do with you, and convince them of that. And luckily they said yes, and so, you know, we sent over Railroad Track and they said, great, this is, you know, perfect, this is exactly what we want to do. And so that's how that happened.
Loads of stuff happening for you at the moment with the Apple placement, which is fantastic because it brings you to a completely new audience. Yeah. And you're recording as well, or how's the recording for the album going? You finished that now?
I mastered it on Monday.
Oh, brilliant.
I mastered the record on Monday. I'm completely done. I'm, you know, so happy. It's weird though to have this void in my life now, because it's been the last, you know, however many years of my life working. I sat down and I was listening to records we listened to in the mastering studio. I was thinking, God, it's so strange that I've dedicated the last 4 years of my life to creating this kind of, you know, half an hour of music. Do you know what I mean? This kind of half an hour of noise. But it's beautiful.
You're happy with it?
Really happy with it.
When's it going to come out?
I really like it. It's my favourite record. And I'm not, that's, you know, I always wanted to make a record that I'm proud of, and I am. You know?
That's the most important thing, because if you're not proud of it, then how are you going to convince?
Great. It's got everything that I like on there, all the stuff that I love. It's like if someone could give me a gift of you know, here's an album of everything that you would ever want to hear together on an album. It's like, that's the record. So for me, it's perfect. I don't know how other people are going to feel about it, but for me, I'm happy.
Any titles yet?
No. That's hard, you know. I'm sure I'll come up with something. I haven't really thought about it properly. Everything I've thought of were kind of like sort of quite cheap tattered titles. I don't know. I just wanted to self-title it, but it's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it?
And then you want something that's going to be timeless as well, to kind of go in with the music.
Yeah, exactly. Something that represents the record, but it's such a kind of fragmented thing.
You also have a new video coming out this week.
Yeah, I've got a new video coming out on Thursday, which I've got to get in touch
I saw
with the director.
you put a little picture.
Screenshot. We got loads of dancers. We got all these French dancers, which are great. Sort of like sat down with the choreographer and kind of worked out. And they were kind of all of the choreographers have worked from you watched a lot of videos of me performing live and my music videos and stuff, and kind of based all the choreography upon, which is funny because it's like basing choreography upon the dancing of somebody who, you know, can't dance. There's something that's quite beautiful about that to me. You know, I think dancing is an expression of enjoyment, and it's an expression of, you know, a feeling and an affinity for the music that you're hearing, and that's what it is to me. And I think that people should, across the board, you know, when you go into a place and then go into a bar and there's, you know, music playing, but everyone's so afraid to dance because dancing has become like a show.
Oh yeah.
You know, and everyone feels like it's their own personal little television program, and they're like performing for everybody else in the room.
Dancing around the pillar kind of thing, or whatever.
You know, and it's not what it's about. Yeah. You know, and then you watch kind of like old like videos from the kind of like, you know, I don't know, 60s or something, and people just freaking out and dancing really badly, but that you can just tell they're having a great time. That's what I think it's about. And
when you're performing on stage, if you're having a good time,
then
it's kind of going to feed the audience.
I hope that people, you know, realise they're like, fuck, this guy's having fun. I should be allowed to have fun. Why aren't I allowed to have fun? Why does society refuse to allow me to have fun when I just want to let go, and you know? But then there's always that person who's kind of going to be like looking at me like, oh, you look silly. You know, it's like, whatever. You know, who cares? You're silly. Go away.
Well, thanks for listening. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to my blog, which is nessiemon.com. Or you can send me an email, nessie@nessiemon.com. Until next time, thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.